Over 250 farmers are doing water and soil conservation. And the type of the trees mainly we also encourage them to plant are eucalyptus, Terminella brownis, which are not consuming a lot of water from the ground. And other interventions which we are also doing is also water harvesting techniques, which we have over 20 farmers having water holes for harvesting water, surface runoff water.
So how many trees, the minimum number of trees per farmer?
The minimum number of trees per farmer in the community is 50.
And the maximum?
The maximum you can even go up to over 500 seedlings.
So if we look at the minimum and the maximum, how many farmers have planted minimum trees and how many farmers have planted maximum? Because you said 200 farmers have planted trees.
Over 100 farmers have planted that maximum of that number we talked about. And the rest have planted that 50 seedlings. This one is considering the size of the land they also have.
So between food security and climate change, between the two, which one are you concerned with and why?
This one, they go together because we are very much concerned with food security. And as a result of the climate change, it is what is now bringing what food insecurity. So we are addressing food security with the climate change which we must adopt.
But if you balance the two, which one are you concerned with most?
Food security, we are really addressing the food security because food first.
Okay. And who do you think is responsible for dealing with food security or climate change?
It should be a teamwork. That is, in the village setup or in the community setup, the mother, the child, and the husband should also be a combined team to address the issue of the climate change.
Okay. And in terms of farmers' own responsibility, are they taking any progressive action to contribute to food security and climate change mitigation?
Yes, they are taking seriousness of mitigation in that quite a good number of farmers, like in the community at the moment, we have 20 tree nurseries where they are raising the seedlings. The seedlings, they want to plant in their farms and also in the entire community. And also water harvesting techniques through digging the water holes. This is another issue of addressing the issue of climate change.
So, do they receive support, those farmers, the one you are saying have a nursery, some are planting tree seedlings, some are harvesting water? Do they receive support?
Yes, they receive support in different ways. They get support from, the support can be in material form or in service manner. Like when I talk of service, they are also being trained.
By who?
That is capacity building. It cuts across. We have research institutions in the community. We have the climate change agency in the community. We have the Ministry of Agriculture. We have the Care Kenya, which is also addressing the issue in the community.
Okay. In your own view, okay, what can we, as policy scientists or what, do to contribute to food security or climate change in this community, in your own view?
In my own view, I'm addressing this issue by encouraging the farmers, especially through our CBO, to plant early maturing crops, to plant the trees which are also adapted, which can also adopt the climate we also have.
The question is, in your own view, what can scientists, policymakers, journalists, or everybody in general do to contribute to food security and climate change in this community?
Yeah, the scientists are helping a lot because they are also doing a lot, like some of the crops which we normally plant sometimes back, like the cassava, which was there initially, but because of the diseases like cassava mosaic, which could not be planted now. But through scientific inventions, they have now come up with improved ones, which can also be planted here. They also encourage farmers on how they can also work in their farms through creating the soil conservation structures. These are just scientific view.
And what do you think policymakers can do, or journalists?
The policy maker, they should also make sure that the policies are put into practice, not just in written form.
Okay. So what are the biggest barrier or obstacles to you where Europe can help?
The biggest obstacle where the Europe can help
Or barriers?
or the barriers can help. One is we need also to come up with a system whereby any intervention which is done collectively. That is from bottom up approach.
No, here I mean you need to talk about the type of support that needs to come from outside Africa to Africa.
The support which I also
Maybe
suggest,
something supporting agricultural program in upcoming policy making event, more investment in climate smart agriculture in Africa, anything of the sort. What do you think that Europe needs to help in Africa?
what the Europe needs to help Africa is, one is capacity building on how to implement the issue of agriculture, putting more purchase of more input for their farms, and even support through, like the issue of climate change, support through the seeds which are supposed to be planted, and even taking other farmers for exchange visit to already realize a good result so that they can also learn out of this.